Hey, how are we doing, guys? My name is Tanner, and welcome to Crypto Bible. I've got another news update for you guys, and it's just a pretty important one as well because it's basically, giving us some information of how astonishing and how innovation and technology could be taking over, the financial system of the world, right? Everyone knows, well, should know by now that the very popular SWIFT is currently our global payment system that we are using. Is called Swift. It's not very good. A lot of people were obviously talking about maybe XRP even taking over Swift. Of course, there's always going to be talks about that. Swift is very slow. It's very expensive as well. And right now, there's actually talks that blockchain is shaking Swift and the global payment system. So could we be seeing, blockchain come into play very, very soon for the global payment system? Could it be something that we could see in the future? It's definitely something that's being spoken about. And the fact that it's being spoken about is very exciting. Okay. Although we've been getting, a lot of bad news recently regarding things such as Binance, taking a look on the other side of things, there's a lot of bullish news going on. There's a lot more adoption going on. Crypto ultimately does seem to be going in the right direction. So I'm going to read this article to you guys. It's quite detailed, so hopefully you can stay with me. I will leave a link to this article in the link as well in the description below, so please be sure to check that out. Before we start, please make sure you're dropping a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and ensure that bell icon is always hit so you know when we're uploading a video. Without further ado, let's get into this article. So literally says how a blockchain is shaking Swift and the global payment system. So, last month, the Brussels-based utility called the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, or also known as SWIFT, announced that 6 global banks had embraced its plan to upgrade cross-border payment systems. So far, so boring, many might think. Payment processes rarely grab public or political attention unless they go wrong. In that sense, they are like household plumbing. But investors should wake up. For this joint initiative, together with the Bank of China, Citi, Bank of New York Mellon, Deutsche Bank, Standard Chartered, and BNP Paribas, these are obviously banks from loads of different countries, is one sign of a potentially vicious battle now erupting due to the risk of cryptocurrencies and the technology behind them. The wider public tends to view digital tokens such as Bitcoin primarily in terms of whether they can act as a store of value and medium of exchange. Many politicians are simultaneously caught up in the emerging debate around the potential of central bank digital currencies. But what is equally important and often overlooked in all of these conversations is what blockchain and the cryptocurrencies it supports could do to financial plumbing, not just inside countries, but between them. This could reshape not just finance, but US geopolitical leverage as well. SWIFT is currently both a crucial linchpin of global finance and peculiarity which seems ripe for disruption. It first sprang to life in 1977 when American and European banks created a jointly owned utility to perform correspondent banking services. As an admirably lucid new book, The Payoff explains, this occurred because Citi was developing a proprietary payments network and its rivals hated the idea of a monopoly sitting in private lands. So again, 1977 was when SWIFT was created. And, with all of the technology that is about right now, it does not surprise me that, blockchain could be shaking up the world of SWIFT and global payments. Ultimately, what you're going to get with blockchain is security. You're going to get faster transactions as well, and transparency too. So, either way, whatever way you do look at it, it wins. So very exciting stuff. Hopefully this does take place. I can definitely see it taking place in the near future too. But let's carry on having a read. So today, SWIFT remains a non-profit cooperative with 11,000 members and facilitating payments worth an eye-popping 1.5 trillion a day. It does not actually moving money, but by enabling banks to dispatch messages that credit or debit their accounts as payments occur. This makes it akin to an electronic post system. SWIFT officials, however, prefer to dub it in the world's largest fintech. Maybe so, but its Achilles heel is that it is anything but SWIFT. As I said, slow. So on the contrary, the payoff notes that until recently, Swift's payments were slow. It cost high, and the utility slow to embrace innovation because it had a bureaucratic culture and weak governance structure. Unsurprisingly, this has prompted fintech upstarts such as Ripple and Facebook's DM project to create plans to challenge Swift with innovations such as distributed ledger technology or the blockchain. Like I said, at the end of the day, Swift is all to do with cross-border payments. Slow, it's not secure as well, it's very expensive. And ultimately, the reason why people were talking about XRP kind of taking over was simply because XRP is also to do with the cross-border payments, and it's fast, very cheap, and very secure. So, ultimately that is the best choice, right? So, whether or not that's actually going to come into play, people look at that as something that could really drive the price of XRP, flip the switch, as they say. Yeah, I don't really believe too much in that. However, I definitely do believe that, blockchain, and if something like XRP was to come in to take over, it would definitely benefit every single person. For people that don't understand, look at it this way. Let's say you was in England right now and you wanted to send money to, I don't know, India. Let's just say you wanted to send money to India. Number one, once you send the money, it's going to cost you a bombshell. It's going to be very, very expensive. Number two, it will probably take over a week to arrive there as well. And number three, once it's sent, you don't really have any information of where it is. You don't really have any security of it. If it's lost, it's lost. So, blockchain can fix that because it's going to be very, very cheap. It will arrive very quickly as well. And you've got all the information needed to know exactly what's going on. So, ultimately, that is what we're trying to fix. At the end of the day, Swift is a system that was created in 1977. It's a dinosaur. Okay, that system is a dinosaur compared to the technology we've got today. Anyway, it's a discussion that's been going on for years anyway, ever since XRP came into play. But at least they are now talking about something like this. Whether it's going to be XRP or not, but blockchain is what they're talking about. So some of Swift's own members are also challenging it. JP Morgan, for example, is developing a particularly bold blockchain initiative system called Onyx with a messaging system called Link. This is already moving billions each day, according to officials. Meanwhile, the Russian and Chinese governments are reportedly creating rival platforms, since countries subject to US sanctions, such as Iran, have occasionally been excluded from the network. So Gottfried Librand, don't know if I'm saying that right, the former Swift head and co-author of the payoff, recently explained to a Financial Times forum that while the utility is technically independent, Washington has sanction power because half of Swift's payments flows are in dollars. Will these challenges topple Swift? Definitely not in the short term. Even if Russia and China build rival systems, it is unlikely others would choose to rely on these in a world where the overwhelming majority of global trade is currently invoiced in dollars. And while fintech startups are performing small value cross-border retail payments and aim to dominate specific niches, none have any scale yet. Moreover, the key thing to understand about platforms such as the ambitious JP Morgan Onyx Link system is that they're closed looped, as opposed to Swift's open system. Rivals thus have an incentive to collaborate with Swift to promote interoperability. Fintech is a world of frenemies. But even in short-term challenges can be fended off, the long term is uncertain. It is very unlikely that the US Treasury would choose to let Swift be disintermediated given its geopolitical significance. Washington and Wall Street thus have joint incentive to help the utility fend off competition by following others' innovations. And Swift is trying to do precisely that. 4 years ago, it introduced one big upgrade, a new global payments innovation to improve processes. The recent announcement in partnerships with the banks is supposed to deliver more digital capabilities in November 2022. A 15-month plan, however, looks achingly slow to anyone in Silicon Valley or in Beijing, which is racing ahead with its digital currency. Swift's ambitions also seem modest compared to the promise of blockchain. So the issue being fought over Brussels is not just one of technical and geopolitical importance. Must cross-border payments occur via messages? Should America weaponize dollar flows? But also commercially critical, can an incumbent monopoly ever effectively steal from distributors? destructors, sorry. The fact that the answers are uncertain is unnerving and more important than the hype around cryptocurrencies. So there you go. It's quite a long article, so I do apologize for that. I will leave this in the link in the description below. But yeah, very interesting stuff. And obviously, if this was to come into play, absolutely huge. You know, the fact that Financial Times are reporting it, very credible article, very credible website. So yeah, look, again, it's just talk at the moment, of course. But the fact that it's even being spoken about should be pretty exciting, very bullish in my opinion. And it's just another confirmation that crypto is the future. Okay. And, you know, one thing that we were also talking about in regards to, you know, banks being scared. Okay. There's very strong opinions on this, but should they be scared now? I don't know if they'll be scared. I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to help them. So, you know, Swift, they're coming for Swift. We'll see how it all plays out. Any further developments on this, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. But yeah, that is going to cover it for today's video. Let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are on this entire thing. Do you think it's going to happen? What do you think of Swift at the moment? And, you know, is there something else that you believe should be going on? Maybe another cryptocurrency could be coming into play. Ultimately, I believe XRP would probably be the best solution for this, simply because it is Swift just a million times better. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts and opinions, of course. So if if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure that bell icon is turned on so you don't miss any uploads. And guys, join the Discord. The link is in the description below as well. I'll keep you updated with anything on there too. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Take it easy.